So working out is something that a lot of people do, and it's really common, and you work out and your muscles get super tired and you work really, really hard and you become exhausted. And so recovery is really important when you're working out. And there's a few things that I've learned in terms of recovery that have helped me to be able to push my body to the maximum and then come back the next day and recover really quickly because of 4 things that I do. The first thing that I do is I use recovery tools and I roll my muscles out to prevent knots. The second thing that I do is stretch in order to make my muscles more flexible and able to work out at a higher intensity. The third thing that I do is recover with nutrition and refueling my body. And the fourth thing that I do is get a lot of sleep. So I'm going to talk about each of those 4 methods a little bit more in detail so that you're able to apply them to your workout schedule and be able to recover more as well. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is recovery tools. So in order to use recovery tools, you go to your local running store, Columbus Running Company if you live in Columbus, and you pick out some different recovery tools. My 2 favorite recovery tools that I have are the R8 Roll Recovery and something called the Orb, and it's just this little ball that is a little bit dense, and so you're able to work into your muscles. So some cool things that you can do with the R8 Recovery is you can roll out your quads, and you would roll them out like this. Make sure that you use it and you just roll it straight onto your leg, and that's going to protect the springiness and keep it nicer for longer. And you roll your quad. The other thing that I really like to do is roll down to my calf and roll right here. And you're going to do that for 10 to 15 minutes on each leg, and that's going to help to roll those knots out so that your muscles don't get tight in certain places and prevent you from being able to work out at a high level the next day. I really like to use the Orb it's called Piriformis Release, and so I'll put it on the ground and sit on it. And what I do is I roll back and forth, and then you can do something called active release therapy, which is when you will find a knot or something, and then you will actively move your leg. So while you're rolling, you'll move your leg up and down or in and out in order to better work out that knot. Or you can do trigger point therapy, where you find a knot and you just sit on it and wait for that knot to release. And so the Orb is really good for finding those knots and then working on getting them released. So those are my 2 favorite recovery tools. There's more than that, but those are the 2 that I like to use. The second thing that I do in order to ensure a proper recovery is I stretch a lot. And so in your legs, there's 3 main things that you want to stretch: your calves, your quads, and your hamstrings. And when you're stretching each of those things, there's different things you can do. You can do static stretching or dynamic stretching. So for your quads, if you want to static stretch your quads, what you can do is just pull your quad back just like this and stand there. If you want to dynamic stretch your quads, you can move as you do it and reach towards the ceiling, come up high on your toe, come back and do it again on the other leg. You can do static stretching for your hamstrings by leaning over, and then you can kick up for the dynamic stretch, and then for your calves, you're able to kind of find a cabinet or something, go against it for the static stretch, and then for the dynamic stretch, you can walk on your heels across the floor or the carpeting or wherever. The next thing that I do in order to make sure that my body is recovered is I really focus on nutrition. And for nutrition, there's 3 things that are important. The first thing that's important is going to be getting a good refueling session with carbs and protein. My favorite thing to do is to have chocolate milk. It's cheap and it has a perfect carbs to protein ratio. Another fuel that you might like is having berries. Antioxidants are really good for that recovery process. The second thing you want to do when you're refueling your body is make sure you get lots and lots of water. You can do that with just simply water, a sports drink, or Pedialyte. The third thing you want to do is make sure you get a lot of salt. And so you can add salt to all your food throughout the day, more than you might usually do. And then finally, this is probably the most important part of recovery, is I get lots and lots of sleep. So I try and get 9 hours of sleep a night. If I'm not able to get 9 in a night, I try and take a long nap in the afternoon. The second thing that I do besides trying to get sleep at night is I really focus on having a consistent sleep schedule. So I go to bed at the same time every day, and then I wake up at the same time in the morning, and that helps to regulate my sleep at night and just make it better sleep. And the third thing that I do is I will try to avoid electronics before I go to bed. And that kind of helps me to be able to fall asleep better. So all in all, working out, something that we all do, something that we all wish we could do more of and feel better as we're doing it, which is why recovery is really important. So just to recap, the things that I do to recover that I would encourage you to do as well would be foam rolling and rolling out your muscles, stretching and making sure you get all those muscle groups with static and dynamic stretching, recovery in terms of fueling, getting that perfect carbs to protein ratio, hydrating, getting salt, all of that, and sleeping and getting a lot of sleep and getting on a good sleep schedule. And if you do those 4 things, then you'll start to see some improvements in your workouts and better recovery. Thank you.